Hey, it's Luke. Can Jeremiah Love help fellow rookie Carson Beck secure a long-term spot with the Arizona Cardinals? We'll discuss Monday at 10 a.m. It's Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports 98.7, the Arizona Sports app, and the Arizona Sports YouTube channel.
I saw a terrific story the other day on CBSSports.com ranking the 10 worst quarterback rooms in the NFL entering 2026. We discussed it the other day, and joining us now is the writer of that great story, Garrett Podell. Garrett, Tim Ring, John Gambadora, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me on. And it's always fun talking about this story because when the conversation begins, I don't know if it's found amusing or if it makes people angry. It's always an interesting chat.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. This is the truth here. I've been doing this show for 30 years. And my number one go-to website, I do a lot of my work through phone calls. I talk to all the teams, so I do it a little bit differently than most talk show hosts in the country. But I will say the number one spot I go to for stories is CBSSports.com. It's not ESPN. It's CBSSports.com. You guys have great content. So not to brag about it, but it is a great sports website to see a lot of terrific articles. Now let's talk about yours. Because the first thing I looked at, this is clickbait to me, 10 worst quarterback rooms. I know the Cardinals are in there, so I go all the way down to the bottom thinking that they've got to be last. They were not last in your story. Tell me why.
They were not last because even though starter Jacoby Brissett won just one of his 12 starts for Arizona and that one win I was in the building for in Dallas on Monday Night Football when he beat the worst defense in football in 2025, the Dallas Cowboys. He was still productive on the field in terms of moving the ball up and down. He had the second most passing yards in the NFL from the midway point in the season when he became the starter in place of Kyler Murray to the end of the year. Only Jared Goff had more than him in that span. So, even though the team was not winning, he was still able to at least somewhat move the ball, even though it was in situations where the game was kind of out of reach. Threw the ball well enough to where Trey McBride could still be the all-pro tight end and see some nice development from wide receiver Michael Wilson. So, he's still capable of being accurate, putting the ball where it needs to be, but, it's just not productive.
Yeah, I'm curious as to how Carson Beck may have affected your ratings here, too. I like Jacoby. I think he's a capable quarterback, so I think you make a lot of good points there. He is a good quarterback, and if he was on a better team, he'd have more success. But a lot of stuff happened with this offense. Michael Wilson broke out. They had a deep attack that they didn't have with Kyler Murray. Trey McBride was finding the end zone, which is hard to do with Kyler Murray. So I think Jacoby's a good quarterback. But did Carson Beck in the drafting of him affect this ranking in any way?
No, not really. If anything, it kind of just solidified them to be in the bottom 5 of my list. Carson Beck to me, in terms of arm strength, throwing velocity, really hasn't looked the same to me since his SEC championship game injury to his right arm against Texas a couple of years ago now. And this was really apparent in the national championship game with Miami. The last throw of the game that he had a wide receiver streaking open down the left sideline, and it was picked off, but purely because he airmailed the throw. It's just an underthrown ball. So to me, I look at Carson Beck, and he's got plenty of reps and playing experience, which is good, but I just don't think he has the physical tools to really scare NFL defenses.
We should tell everybody that the Cardinals on your list, 4th from the bottom. The Steelers were 3rd. If Aaron Rodgers re-signs there, maybe the Cardinals drop a spot, Garrett. So when you look
they would.
Yeah, so when you look at what the Cardinals have, and we all just said nice things about Jacoby Brissett, it looks to be, when you're in the bottom 3 or bottom 4, you have issues, obviously. Your recommendation for Cardinal fans in terms of how you get out of the bottom and what needs to happen this year and perhaps even next year?
Yeah, to get out of the bottom, I think would be let Jacoby play. If they're still losing like they are, like they did last year with Jacoby, subbing Gardner Minshew, subbing Carson Beck, subbing Keaton Slovis. I would say fast forward to 2027. If you're an Arizona Cardinals fan, you want to see this quarterback wheel come to an end, I think it would be line yourself up to be having a high first-round pick in 2027 when likely Texas quarterback Arch Manning Dante Moore from Oregon, who a lot of people thought would have been the number 2 overall pick to the Jets in this year's draft. Had he decided to come out, he decided to go back to Oregon for another year. You could pick from him. A lot of people like Julian Sayin at Ohio State. He might be in next year's class, and maybe the Notre Dame quarterback who has showed promise down the stretch for the Fighting Irish Carr up there in South Bend. So I'd say just the quarterback options next year. I know people say, oh, well, you say that. People say that every year. But I do think it's demonstrably going to be better next year versus this year, when I truly only felt that Fernando Mendoza was the only first-round caliber quarterback in the 2026 class.
Yeah, but you know what, Garrett, you bring up a good point, though, and I think this is the issue a lot of Cardinal fans had with drafting Carson Beck. Like, if the Cardinals do win 3-4 games, they have a top 5 pick, and they have the opportunity to draft one of these quarterbacks coming out, whether it be Manning or Carr or Sayin. Dante Moore is another guy, obviously, that could be a top 5 pick. And if you have to do that, then you kind of just wasted a 3rd-round pick in the 2026 draft. So it's kind of an interesting deal for the Cardinals this year, and that they better get a real good grasp on Carson Beck's ability to play in this league.
I agree with you 100% on that. I was perplexed seeing the Cardinals take him in the 3rd round. I thought he was certainly a day 3 pick somewhere. I thought he was probably going to be like a 5th-round pick. I thought Garrett Nussmeier was, better than he was. Garrett Nussmeier did have the little spine cyst thing, but a lot of people said that it wasn't going to end up affecting him long term. In terms of, Beck, if I were Arizona, let's have everyone give it a go. If you're not winning, which even with Brissett last year, stuff in the box score, they weren't winning. Let everyone take a turn. I think what I like about their head coach hire in Mike LaFleur, what his older brother Matt has shown in Green Bay, he helped revive Malik Willis' career and get him paid as he signed a 3-year, $68 million contract with the Miami Dolphins this offseason. Jordan Love played top 5 to top 10 quarterback caliber of play when he was healthy. So you look at someone who's coming and running that Shanahan-McVay offense. That's been a great offense to develop and be very quarterback friendly. So I would just see what's everyone look like in that scheme, and then you kind of get a benchmark, like you said, for Beck and everyone else entering what's probably going to be a reset at that position in 2027.
NFL staff writer for CBS Sports, Garrett Podell, joins us on the program talking about the 10 worst quarterback rooms in the NFL. We had Carson Beck on the show yesterday. I really liked him. He real personable. Told a great story about having his Lamborghini stolen and that he can't get it back because some drug lord in Guatemala has it right now. So made us laugh a little bit. But I got a great story idea for you as I'm looking at this list. We're probably a little bit older than you, but here's a good story idea. When was the last time the Cleveland Browns had a great quarterback? It was probably Bernie Kosar. I grew up in New York. The last time the Jets had a really good quarterback was Kenny O'Brien. The Dolphins, truthfully, the last time the Dolphins had a good quarterback was Marino. I don't count Tannehill. That would be a terrific story. Go back and find the last time that these bottom feeders had good quarterbacks.
Yeah, Arizona, what would it probably be outside of Kyler Murray?
No.
Yeah, Carson Palmer, probably outside of Kyler Murray's 2 Pro Bowl seasons.
Well, Kyler wasn't good. He was an average quarterback at best. So he doesn't fall in that.
Yeah, Kurt Warner was great.
And Warner was great, and Carson Palmer was very good. So they're a little bit different than Cleveland and Miami and the Jets. Yeah. But a lot of these teams have not had a true franchise quarterback in a long, long time. You had the Steelers at the bottom, near the bottom of your list. So give me a quick thought on the difference with Rodgers and how that would change your ranking.
Well, as it sits today, because Aaron Rodgers, he's expected to re-sign, has not. So they've got 3 quarterbacks on their roster, 2 of which have not thrown a pass in an NFL regular season game. In 2025 6th-round pick Will Howard out of Ohio State, and 2026 3rd-round pick Drew Aller out of Penn State. Neither of those guys have thrown in an NFL regular season game. Then you have retread Mason Rudolph, who he's an occasional spot starter, played a little bit for the Steelers early in his career when Big Ben was hurt, went to the Tennessee Titans, wasn't able to earn a starting job there, came back to Pittsburgh. So to me, their best quarterback in terms of experience in Mason Rudolph is like a 1 to 2 to 3 game starter at best, and then 2 guys who have never thrown a regular season pass. So that's why they're as low as they are. And with Rodgers, they would vault up. Maybe they're, 9 or 10 on this list. But Aaron Rodgers, depending what stat you want to use, whether it's If it's advanced analytics like expected points added per drop back, I think he was 23 or 24. Pass rating, he was a little better at 14th. Touchdown interception ratio was good. I believe it was like 24-7, seventh best. But he basically gives you at 42, 43, somewhere between the 23rd to 14th best quarterback in the NFL when healthy at this stage of his career. He just can't move around the same way he used to.
Garrett, I appreciate the time. Continued success with CBS Sports. We enjoyed your column. Thank you very much.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks so much for having me.